Yeah, so that's a good segue into our Q&A session. Yeah, this took a little bit longer than expected. Yeah, so if anyone from the audience wants to come up and ask questions, please raise your hand. We'll add you up. But again, please do verbally consent to being recorded before you ask your question. It looks like we have a lot of friends here too. Brian from Bitcoin Association of Hong Kong. Nick from Refinable was here earlier, and I think he worked with both of you guys before on a project before. Yeah, anyone from the audience, feel free to raise your hand and come up and ask questions. Otherwise, I've pulled some questions from Telegram as well.
Don't be scared. Ask questions.
So I'm inviting up a couple of people that are friends of GB as well. Yeah, so I guess while we're waiting for people to kind of come up and ask questions, one that we had from Telegram was, how is liquidity created or available on Varna?
Well, that's a great question. Our plans for that is Varna will have its own set of incentives for attracting folks to place orders and provide liquidity on Varna. Because once you've placed an order, your funds will be tied up, and it would be unreasonable to expect people to be willing to do that for free. So there will be a reward mechanism built into the tokenomics design for Varna itself.
Well, so right now, Varna is just doing atomic swaps, which don't require liquidity pools. But of course, having liquidity pools makes the whole system much easier and much more convenient to use. And just like liquidity pools anywhere, people who provide liquidity will have to earn something in exchange for tying up their funds in a liquidity pool. So, but there's any number of good known solutions out there, and Varna will end up with one of those.
So I had a question, and I
Andy,
consent
before
to
you
be.
talk, can you consent to being recorded?
I consent to being recorded. It's a little strange. It's kind of a broader question. It's just, it really piqued my interest. You're talking about the lattice cryptography and it being quantum resistant. I was curious as to what role you guys see quantum computing playing in this space, and how soon you see that role growing to something substantial.
Well, I'm sure all of us have been watching quantum computing with very considerable fascination. Quantum computing for certain cryptographic techniques has very significant implications because certain math problems that were previously very difficult to solve may all of a sudden become very easy. There is no, as far as I know, there's no immediate dramatic impact of quantum computing for the basic security of contemporary blockchains. So it's not that once quantum computers become more widely available, it's not that current blockchains will generally speaking become unsecure because of the techniques they use. But it certainly does mean that it does narrow the set of cryptographic techniques people should be using in general. In terms of when the technology will become available, there's certainly been examples already of certain math problems being solved by quantum computers. But I can't give you any specific timeline or anything. This is really a little bit beyond my area, and it's an area that's being very actively pursued by several companies, and then also, of course, various governments.
Awesome, thank you. I actually had a couple other smaller questions for you. You're talking about the the world computer. I really love that. that analogy, kind of like the infinite machine. Because of that, treating this entire system as a computer, there are some pretty significant limitations with transactions per second. I was just kind of curious as to why, not to show any other projects or anything, but why you chose OMG over Solana. Like, what were the advantages that you saw there over another network that might provide similar sorts of like features and benefits?
No, we have a lot of respect for the Solana team, and they've done an amazing job, we think they are creating a really vibrant ecosystem on their own, with OMG having been very active in championing plasma, and also with a lot of connections with the rest of the ecosystem. We wanted to work on an open Ethereum oriented ecosystem to really enable the next generation of smart contract developers to build amazing apps. And yeah, we have a lot of respect for Solana for what they've done, and we think there are many different ways to enable developer to give them superpower, and Solana is one of the ways, and we believe what we're building with the OMG team is another way.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of room for everybody really in the space. If you think about how many car brands are there, right, and they're all quite large. So.
Yang?
Oh, sorry, I may have missed you. Alan's point about being Ethereum focused was one of the deciding factors. So it's important for us to be trust rooted in Ethereum and closely connected to the Ethereum world. But again, what Solana has built is truly impressive. So there's no right or wrong here. What's fascinating to me personally about the blockchain space is just how much there is to do, and just how early it is. And there's as you said, there's just a lot of room for many different technologies in many different directions. But this connection to Ethereum was important to Enya.